Now we're going to solve equations by using multiplication or division. Again, just like the other lesson using addition or subtraction, everything is exactly the same. The difference in this section is that the numbers are decimals. That's it. Okay, so let's take a look at the first example. 9/10 r equals -5 4/10. So the 9/10 is attached to the r through multiplication. So we use the inverse operation, which is division. That's what the fraction bar means right here. And we want to divide by the number that's attached to the variable. So in this case, we're going to divide by 9/10. And notice on this side, it cancels, leaving you with the variable r equals negative divided by a positive is a negative, sign first, and 5 4/10 divided by 9/10 is the whole number 6. I can check this by writing the original equation, substituting the value for the variable r, and checking, and I do get that should be a negative sign. 5 4/10 does equal, a negative 5 4/10 does equal a negative 5 4/10. Let's try a couple. Look at number 1. 0 8/10 x equals a negative 1.6. So the 8/10 is attached to the variable x through multiplication, so I'm going to divide both sides by that number. And it cancels, leaving me with x equals, now sign first, a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Now I'm not even thinking about that, and this is going to give me 2. Look at number 2. 1 1500 equals 2 3/10 x. 2 3/10 is attached to the variable. Through multiplication, you are going to use division to both sides. This cancels, leaving you with 0.5. And then again, a positive divided by a positive is a positive. And number 3, negative 81 8100 equals a negative 9/10 n. And now I'm going to divide by exactly what I see, a negative 9/10. This cancels, leaving me with n, which is my variable, on the right-hand side. And sign first, negative divided by a negative is a positive, and this comes out to be 90 and 9/10. All right, so the only difference now is that we have decimals. Let's take a look at example 2. An oil field produces an average of 16 8/10 thousand barrels of crude oil per day. About how many days will it take to produce 200,000 barrels? Now, if I let D represent the number of days, I know in every day I'm going to get 16 8/10 gallons of barrels of crude oil times the number of days. So now I'm going to divide both sides, and it would take 11.904, or roughly, if I round that up, to 12 days. I can't say 11 days because you still have this much. So this has to go to the next day, 12 days. Try another one. You paid $7.70 to mail a package that weighed 5.5 pounds. Write and solve an equation to find the cost per pound. So let C equal cost per pound. Okay, so you are mailing 5.5 pounds times the cost per pound, and you paid $7.70. And you're now going to divide that by 5.5 on both sides, and the cost comes out to be $1.40. 770 divided by 5.5 comes out to be $1.40 per pound. Let's try a couple. Or first, let's take a look at example 3. Now I'm going to use division. So I have m divided by negative 7.2 equals a negative 12.5. So m is attached to a negative 7.2 through division. You use the inverse of multiplication to solve for both. So I need to multiply both sides by a negative 7.2, exactly what you see, and that cancels. Now remember, a negative times a negative is a positive, and this comes out to be 90. Let's try example 5. R divided by a negative 6.0 equals 0.5. I see division, so I am going to use multiplication. Exactly what I see, a negative 6.0 on both sides. Show me that that cancels, and then I get R equals a positive times a negative is a negative. See how I don't do the math first? I do the signs first, and then I come out with a negative 3. Number 6, negative 80 equals t divided by 4.5. T is attached to 4.5 through division. You're going to use the inverse operation of multiplication on both sides. That cancels, leaving you with t equals a positive times a negative is a negative, and 4.5 times 80 is 360. Okay. All right, let's try a word problem. Especially something like this is overwhelming. It's really an easy problem, but when we see all these words together, it's like, ah! The 1923 baseball season was one of Babe Ruth's best years. He was at bat 522 times and had a batting average of 393 thousandths. The batting average formula is A equals H divided by N, where A is the batting average, H is the number of hits, and N is the number of times at bat. Use that formula to find the number of hits Babe Ruth made. We know his average is 393 thousandths equals, I'm looking for the number of hits, so I'm looking for the variable H, and I know he went to bat 522 times. So if I want H is attached to the 522 through division, I want to multiply both sides, the inverse operation, by 522, and 522 times 393 thousandths means he got 205 hits that year. Look at number 7. Let's try this. Suppose your batting average is 0.222, or 222 thousandths. You have batted 54 times. How many hits do you have? And again, it's the average equals the hits divided by the number of times at bat. Substitute in what you know. You know the average. The hits is what you're looking for, and the number of times that he batted was 54. Okay, so now I want to multiply both sides by 54 to isolate that variable. Number of hits is going to be 12. And we should really put a label in here because it's a word problem. 12 hits at bat. And that's it. Good luck.